Money FM 89.3, the best of Saturday mornings. Saturday morning sit down.
And we are back with Dawn Cher, finance content creator and author. You may recognize her voice from our previous interview, but here she is. And Dawn is a blogger, became a best-selling author, and is the host of Budget Babe, which is a financial blog. Welcome back to part 2 of our Saturday morning sit down.
Thanks for having me again.
Okay, first things first, the name. Explain the switch. What happened between Fiona and Dawn?
Oh, it's my full name.
Ah.
Yeah, it's just I use my middle name for my writing, and then at work people call me Fiona, and it actually helps because if I get a phone call Fiona, then I know that it's either from the hospital about my dad or from the school about my kids, and I panic. But if someone calls me Dawn, I'm like, oh yeah, it's not super urgent.
Got it. Okay, so tell us about Budget Babe. It's been around for about 10 years now, is that correct?
11
years, excuse me. And your personal finance blog. Tell us about how it got started and what you do with it.
So when I was younger, I always wanted to be an author. I used to read your books too.
Thank you.
And well, in that time, I didn't know how. So I was complaining to my then boyfriend, now husband, that the only writing I was doing, despite going to journalism and mass media school, was the emails and proposals. And it was boring. It was not fulfilling my writer's need inside of me. So he said, well, do something about it. Go and write a blog. I'm like, oh, okay, maybe I should just self-publish. So I didn't know what to write. And he said, why don't you just talk about something you've been talking about with your friends this while? What have you been up to? And at that time, I had just saved $20,000, which I thought was a good achievement because I was earning $2,000 take-home pay. Yeah, so I was like, that's my biggest achievement right now. He said, well, write about that. And unexpectedly, in 2 weeks' time, that went viral and just set the tone for the rest of the
And what did you
article.
say in that particular article, how you got 20,000? What was it about the piece that made it go viral?
It was actually just a listicle of like 5 or 6 things that I did to save up $20,000. But I think what happened was that people resonated with it, and people also realized it is possible to save even if your salary isn't high. It just takes some sacrifices here and there.
Do you remember some of the things on the listicle?
Yeah, like not buying Starbucks coffee when everyone was.
Yeah.
Getting it from the pantry for free or from the kopi uncle downstairs for $1.30. Probably $2.10 now.
Yeah, it's more expensive now. The book is called Take Back Control of Your Money, and it's a new book. A new book that's just come out?
It's my first and my latest book,
Your
yes.
first and latest. Okay, so you're first.
Yeah.
All right. Now, the basic idea of it is, our money disappears without us knowing about it. Hidden fees, impulse purchases, Starbucks coffee, not to pick on Starbucks, but anybody's coffee, and things like that. Tell us more about the book and how you help people to take back their money.
So I designed the book across 4 seasons. The first season starts with understanding how money really works in our economy, which is when you are not noticing, when you're not in control, society will find a way to suck that out from you. So the book cover is actually very deliberate. It features different hands representing, say, the banks, the governments taking taxes, your parents taking allowance, and advertisers taking, your shopping money, and even these days subscriptions. How many of us are on subscriptions that we don't use?
Let's come back to that because I want to talk to you about that. But yeah, carry on.
Yeah, so once you understand how money really works in society, then it goes to season 2, which is helping you to take back control, to make sure that you plug these gaps and get back that control and confidence over your money. Once that is done, then it goes into season 3, which is now you probably have some excess. What do you do with that? So you can use money to grow money through investing. And it's not going to teach you how to invest, but it'll teach you everything you know about investing so that you can then find the tools after that to go on the investing path that you want. Whether you're an index investor, you want to do stocks, crypto, or whatever, businesses, etc. And then finally, the 4th season is to remind you and to wrap things up. It is not just about chasing money. We can't bring money to our deathbed. It is really about living a life that money and financial freedom allows us to live.
Oh, that I couldn't agree more. Could you give us an example? Take us through the 4 seasons with one example that goes all the way through. Is that possible?
So season 1, you will be charged higher taxes
Okay.
as you earn more.
We'll start there, yeah.
Sure.
And no one's going to teach you how to save on that, but there are resources if you know where to find them, including on my blog. Season 2, how to take back control. One of that would be plugging the leaky buckets.
Yeah.
So look really hard at all the subscriptions that you have. I'm guilty as well. I discovered a couple of months ago that my kid, when we were in China, we paid for the television, and apparently the cancellation did not go through. So I was paying for 5 months. Without realizing, because I didn't check my credit card bills. So stuff like that. And credit cards will charge you annual fees, which you can waive in Singapore, but they're not going to auto waive it for you if you don't call in or if you don't check.
Correct.
Yeah, so these are things in season 2 that we talk about, including scripts on how to get your boss to give you a higher salary. Yeah. Then season 3.
Yep, keep going. Season 3.
Season 3 covers the different types of investing, talks about trading versus investing. Should you buy low, sell high all the time? Should you be very frequent about your trades? Or should you just, buy once and forget it? There are many different tools and currency,
strategies and things. Yeah.
Exactly. So it gives a broad-based overview so that the person reading it would be like, oh, now I actually understand what investing means, and I can go and find the resources to support my learning journey after that.
Good. Season 4.
Season 4, you can't bring money back.
Right.
Into
so what do you say? Get out there and spend it? What's your point to the season 4
So
chapter?
for season 4, the whole point is that don't get caught up in the chase until you forget to live life as you go along. Yeah.
Awesome. The audience that you have, what's the demographic of who is been with you for 10 years now?
You said it's about 25,000 followers. So yeah.
That's the people who actually follow. I don't know about the silent stalkers. Well, at events, I see people of all ages. I've seen folks who are 18 asking me how they can invest and what account will let them open at such a young age. I've seen folks in their 50s and 60s who are almost retired or retired and asking me what to do and if they should touch crypto. And I'm like, well, you only have a couple of decades left. I don't know about that.
You're not going to be around very much longer. I don't know what you should do that.
So it's a wide range, but I think the audience that most resonate would probably be those of my peers who have grown up with me, because that's where the blog first started, right? It was trending with my peers and then with their peers and their colleagues. And then as it grew bigger and bigger, then more folks from other age and demographics came in. But I would say it's a wide range because it covers pretty timeless advice on how to handle your money and how to take back control. So anyone reading it would find value in the book.
See, I like that part because I'm not an economist in any way, shape or form. I struggle with that side of the brain. So simple, everyday tips on personal finance, that would resonate with someone like me. Do you still stay with that? Is that still your core discipline, or have you had to venture into other areas?
It is. Everything starts from first having a budget and keeping within it. So I get really worried when I see stats like Singaporeans. I think the latest news was 60% of Singaporeans live paycheck to paycheck. That was pretty scary. I can't imagine. I once had a period when I was doing that, and it was very fearful, lots of anxiety. But today, I like the fact that, if I had to pay extra because I missed my flight or my flight got cancelled, I need to pay for an extra day of hotel without even worrying whether I can claim back from insurance, I can pay. So that level of freedom that finance can actually give you, that is the empowerment that I hope more people will experience.
We're talking with Dawn Cher, the author of Take Back Control of Your Money. She is also the Budget Babe finance blogger. Okay, give young Max here some suggestions. He's 16 years old. He makes a weekly allowance that we pay him for coming to do the show. What should he be thinking about as he is starting his saving journey?
He should first be thinking about how to spend that wisely. And you go have fun with your friends, but make like between the $7 coffee and the $2 coffee, will that $7 really bring you that much joy? It's okay to spend on it once in a while, but not every day. And then after that, put into, at this stage, a savings account that is giving slightly higher interest. Unfortunately, for 16-year-olds, there are not that many. Right. But once he goes into the portion whereby he's regularly getting an income, then there are bank accounts that will give you higher interest for doing that. And here's the fun fact. The banks are not going to automatically push you to those higher interest accounts because it comes at their cost.
Of course.
So you got to learn how to find these resources for yourself.
So do you subscribe to the fact of putting X percentage of every paycheck into a savings account or investment? Or something. Some people say 10% of every check, just park it somewhere else so you don't access it?
So you can come up with your own. That's one thing that I talk about in the book as well. Some people like and they need these frameworks. So you can put like 20% for savings, 30% for investment, or whatever you need to put in. But for me, I use the reverse budgeting method, which is I pay myself first and invest, and then I spend the rest. I just find that easier because I don't have to track every single cent.
What do you mean by that? You pay yourself to cover your monthly allowances and everything, then you invest.
Yeah, so I took that from my schooling years when my parents used to give me an allowance, right? So when I started working, I made $2,000 take-home pay. What I did was I took $500, put it into my spending account, my POSB account, and I put everything else into my OCBC account that was untouchable. So if I ran out of money, then I would take more money from my OCBC back into POSB to spend. But I tried to do that less often. And that frequency of doing that would also then signal to me, am I busting my budget too often? Instead of having to track every single cent, which is not for everyone.
Well, Ian has commented, he says, you have a very innovative design of your book. Take back control of your money. So praise from one of our listeners. All right, for fun, we did Max. Let's go the other side of the spectrum. Someone listening, thinking about retiring or just retiring. We've got an aging population. Healthcare costs are rising. Health insurance costs are rising. Any tips for that end of the spectrum?
So if someone is retiring and is lucky enough to have a 5 or 6 digit sum, I would recommend that they start looking into how to do dividend investing.
What does that mean?
So you mean if they've got more than 100,000, 50,000 in their CPF? Okay, what is that?
Maybe not just the CPF, but their cash as well.
Okay, sure.
Right? So dividend investing is where you buy stocks of companies that pay out a dividend regularly to their shareholders. Some examples are like OCBC, Comfort. In fact, most of our blue chip companies in Singapore do that, right? And when you are a shareholder, they pay you on an X defined frequency every quarter or twice a year. That becomes like your passive income. So if you're of an older age and you can't work anymore, you can still get income coming in simply by being a dividend investor.
Wow.
But you have to lock that money up. Right? You have to lock up that investment amount, whatever that is, in that company. So you don't have access to it, right?
Somewhat. So it's like a fixed deposit, except that you can't redeem a fixed deposit early without too much penalties. But with a company stock, you can sell it anytime on the open market if you really needed money.
Okay.
So let's say if you are a shareholder of stock ABC in Singapore and you get 60,000 a year in dividends. It's possible, by the way. I know of people who have done it.
60,000?
Yeah, 60,000 a year in dividends. It's possible. I have friends who make 6 figures a year.
But they have to invest a lot.
Yeah.
So it depends on when you started as well.
Yeah.
Because if you started early when the share price was lower, you wouldn't have needed that much. I'll use myself as an example. In the book, I talk about my story with DBS. When I first started investing in those shares, the percentage was only at 4%. Then it dropped to 2+%. That wasn't great returns, but I held on. And today, I think yesterday, DBS just crossed $50. So that's huge capital gains on my investment. But my dividend percentage now is closer to 12 to 15%. So that's not a lot of money. When
Over
you're
10
at
years?
12 to 15%. No, that's only a couple of years.
Just a couple of years?
Yeah. I invested during the oil crisis, which was 2016.
Oh, when everything was just at the rock bottom.
Yeah.
Why didn't you give me this advice then?
I didn't
Why
know
did I
you
meet
then.
you? Yeah.
The blog, Budget Bay blog was
know.
there.
I can give a tip, which is I think a lot of the dividend stocks in Singapore now, especially in the real estate sector, and I think this has been covered on Money FM, the REIT sector are still pretty much undervalued. So there's a lot of stocks there that are giving 5 to 6%. Of course, some of them could be duds. They might not survive. But there are some great quality companies in there as well. Last year, I threw a huge sum into one REIT ETF without thinking much because the names were really good. And that has been steadily giving me more than 6% every year.
Yeah. And the idea too of long-term investing versus day trading, where do you come down on that? Are you more of a long-term person?
So I'm a lazy person and I'm a mom. I have my career. I wear multiple hats. I don't have time to track the markets every day. And to be honest, I always share about how when you enter a stock or any investment, you have a 50% chance of getting it right or wrong. When you exit, it's another 50%. When you enter again, it's another 50%. So the more you do in, out, your probability becomes worse. But when you simply just do in, and you never get out, like how Warren Buffett does it, your odds become better over time. That's the story of all of my stocks that I have not touched. In fact, most of the time when I sell stocks to take profit, I end up regretting them anyway because they go up even higher.
But that's assuming the stocks don't tank, right? You're betting on the fact that these stocks, these blue chip stocks, are going to keep making that steady income for you, right? There's always a risk element, isn't there?
There is. I wouldn't use the word betting because it comes from your knowledge. So the more you don't know, the more it becomes a bet. But when you do actually look into things, you analyze and you study the company, you can see the signs. Yeah, so there were lots of signs on many companies to show that they would go up. Similarly, the reverse is true. So I would only sell when I realize that I'm wrong.
Okay.
Or if the company made a major hoo-ha that I don't agree with, such as when they go into another line of business that has nothing to do with their primary expertise.
All right. Well,
So-
if anyone... go on. Yeah, go on.
No, I was just going to say, so you do have to kind of keep you said you're lazy before, you don't want to think about it, but you do have to keep your eye on the ball here. You have to look and see what's happening with your investments, the companies you're investing in, or the sectors you're investing in. There is a certain amount of,
Monitoring.
diligence that you have to be in, right?
Yeah, but I rather do that than spend hours on TikTok or social media scrolling.
Yeah.
One gives me money, the other doesn't.
Yeah. Well, I can say that about books. Books doesn't give me money either, but I still do it. All right, Budget Babe, anyone wants to learn more about you, find out about your book, where should they go?
They can get a copy of my book from Kinokuniya, Popular, or Amazon, or they can look me up on Instagram at SGBudgetBabe.
Fantastic.
SG Budget Babe. Are you on TikTok as well?
I am, but not super active there.
Okay. So Instagram, Budget Babe. Okay. Thank you very much for being with us. Dawn Cher, the Budget Babe, and also the author of Take Back Control of Your Money. Great to have you with us today.
To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.